On this episode of Hollywood versus Reality, we are shooting through an oil filter. This one's empty.
Oil filters. Yep. All right, guys. It's been a couple weeks. I haven't gone live. We're going to do it tonight. We're going to talk about how to prepare for the oncoming year of white bass, stripers, and hybrids. Because I was out the other day. Actually, it wasn't the other day. I was out yesterday. And I was playing with the Mega Live on my kayak and just kind of checking up on where the white bass and the hybrids and everything's at, how that world's going. And they're not exactly on the bank yet for the bank guys, but they're getting pretty close. They're getting pretty close. A lot of the fish are in that 15, 20-foot zone. They're already staging in the staging areas. So if you got a boat, it's a good time to go out. And like I've always said before, for the guys fishing the creeks and things like that, you kind of have to wait for the second storm to happen before it really starts, right? But the second storm is going to happen on Monday and Tuesday. Today's only Thursday. Storms happening Friday. Storms happening on Monday, Tuesday. And if it's a good storm, which I think this one's a good storm, our rivers, man, they're gonna be teaming with white bass and hybrids here in about, I'd say 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It'd be pretty crazy. But if you got a boat, just go out there. They're already ready to go already. So ain't got a lot of plans tonight, guys. Let me know the questions if you guys have something that you would like answered. I just have to show you guys our rig one more time. This thing that we're building. This is the umbrella rig, the clear one with no blades. You guys will see us throw this a lot this year. And for the guys that have ordered one, much appreciated, guys. We put a lot of thought and a lot of blood and sweat into this thing. Gone through many versions of it, and we finally got to the point where we're like, I think some of our guys might want to buy this, and just in general, the fishing world might want to buy this. So, like I said, 2.5 years into it, we finally got it working, and pretty proud of it. I've already caught. The last 3 weeks we probably caught, between the ones that I know of. Okay, we've already caught maybe 40 to 50 fish on it, largemouth, smallmouths, hybrids, white bass. So. Does it work? For sure, it does work. We've been using it for a long time. If you're a follower of the show and you're keyed in on details, you've probably already seen it been used a couple times, especially this time of year last year when we were trying to catch the hybrids with the gay blades and that type of stuff. You guys know we caught a couple. We caught a lot actually. We didn't show everybody everything. But yep, tonight's basically just touching base with you guys. See what you guys are doing. See what's up. See what's going on. I got so much stuff in the back because I got to prepare for this tournament. But I figured to hop online just to give you guys a what's up on the channel. See what we're doing. So right now I just announced that we have a bait drop. I just did it maybe 5 minutes ago on Instagram and I think even on Facebook a little bit about the rigs coming online, and they've been selling pretty good. So if anybody wants one, private message us. We'll give you prices, and we'll let you know if it's even still available. So some of them have been flying off the shelf, and when they fly off the shelf, people use them. It's just going to be even harder now to get one. So let us know if you want one. If you don't, you just want to talk fishing. Let's talk fishing. So this time of year, hybrids, white bass, that type of stuff. This is probably like my go-to. The jerkbait. Take a look at that guy. Oops. The jerkbait. This is the STX from Rick Clunn's company, I guess, at one point. But that's just a killer. It's just always good to have one of those tied on for the next month. Actually, it's really really good. Some people they do very well with this, and I don't blame them. Oops, the little Castmaster, little Acme Castmaster, as you can see. Acme Castmaster. This is the quarter ounce. Really really good. Other than that, man, just go out with crappie jigs. Crappie jigs doesn't seem to matter much. As long as it's white, some form of white, it's always good. If the river is real muddy, I kind of like some type of chartreuse on it, and it's just gonna be good. It's gonna be real good. But in terms of, so I actually did a lot of walking around, right? So one of my local lakes. Uh, I'll even give you the lake. I was walking around Sky took a lot, and I went to every single boat ramp, every single hunting area that has access to the lake, right? So if it was public access, I was there. I was looking at it. If there was a road that you can drive and somehow goes into the lake, I was there. I was there on Saturday and on Sunday, just kind of checking out the lake, see the lake's doing, right? And I fished some spots. I didn't fish some other spots that probably should have fished, right? I can tell you the fish are not on the banks yet, at least in my areas. And I was a little disappointed, but I kind of knew. That they weren't exactly ready to fire up yet because the temperatures aren't bad, but the rainstorms haven't happened. Like I said, it's always like two rainstorms before they get two before they really start going, and three they're in full force. So just get ready, man. In the next 1 to 2 weeks here, you're gonna see me throwing some crazy rigs. You're gonna see me throwing some crazy stuff at the white bass and the white bass and largemouths for that matter, because we're fishing a tournament on SkyTip this weekend. So I'm doing double duties right now, kind of like tonight, double duty, white bass trappers and largemouths and smallmouths. So went out on Saturday, just drove around. Wind was blowing too much, was blowing like 15, 20 on Saturday. Kind of just drove around, kind of looked at all the places. I went down to Tall Chief, looked at that. It's really clear, which Tall Chief is always pretty clear. And then I drove to Skytook Point, still pretty clear. Then I went to uh, Osage Ramp. I was actually a little dirty. I was kind of surprised. Went to Black Dog. I was like, it's pretty clear, pretty clear. And there was two other ramps after that. I can't remember what their names were. Went there. I was like, oh, walked around. It's not bad. And then I went to like two off-road areas where I had to put the truck in the four-wheel drive in case I got stuck. So I went in, looked at the stuff. One spot was just real muddy. Another spot was just like unusually flat and clear. I don't know. Kind of a weird situation there. And then I just kind of drove around. And then I fished a spot. I was thinking, this is a spot I would not go to. Like, it's not one of my strengths, right? I wouldn't go there. But to actually rule it out, you have to fish it. So I was in a creek that was small enough to the point where if there was white bass there, probably would have caught white bass too. And I fished it. Fished it for about 30 minutes. Like I said, it was real dirty. It was a bunch of laydowns. And I fished it with a creature bait. I flipped around it. I couldn't get bit. So I was like, all right, write that off. It's done. Not going there. And I came to this other spot, and I walked. I must have walked like a mile, 2 miles along the shoreline. And I was just like, this is real shallow, but it's fairly clear, which is really weird. Clear, shallow area that's normally real muddy. Real good for white bass run too, because I was there double duty. I was looking for bass beds, or bass bedding activity. I was also looking for white bass, just any signs of white bass, because if white bass is in the area, it kind of feels like you're gonna see some signs, like either there's foot traffic, you can see a bunch of footprints from other people. Okay, so that's the other thing. If you're watching this video, that's a good tip for you guys. If you're the first one there, then there's no footprints. You're the first one to lay down some footprints. And when I was there, I was paying attention to footprints. There was only like two other sets of footprints there. All right, so that kind of tells you, you might be a little early. So I took it for what it was worth. I left Saturday. Uh, so came home, rigged out the kayak. The kayak is ready to go. Peeled off all the stickers. All the new stickers are on it. New name and everything. And then I'm like, I'm gonna go out on Sunday. So wake up on Sunday. I was gonna go check the weather. It was gonna blow 20 plus miles per hour, and I said, that's a little much. That's a little much. I'm not gonna go. But there's just one spot I wanted to go check out because the previous year, we had a video out of actually there's a video out on this spot where we were catching a bunch of white bass, and the wind's been blowing on this point for the past it feels like 2 weeks. It's probably more like 4 days, but it felt like 2 weeks, right? So wind was blowing on it on Saturday. It was blowing hard, but for some reason, I was still searching, so I didn't want to fish anything. So I go back on Sunday. Gotta go pick up my brother at 8 o'clock at night. He was coming back home from a kind of a family trip. So I was gonna go pick him up anyways, and I was like, I want to go fishing and all this other stuff. So I decided I'm gonna head out there at 3:30, fish till 7, and then go pick him up from the airport. So I go out there, and it is blowing. It is blowing hard, right? Like ridiculously hard. So you try to cast into the wind, and then basically the baits fall at your feet. That's how bad it was. It was blowing like 30 miles per hour. So I get out there and I'm looking. I'm like, I want to go throw a fluke because I've been telling everybody, all you need is a fluke during the pre-spawn, and you should be okay. So I want to go out and throw a fluke, but when I got out there, the water was a little too dirty for a fluke. So I was like, maybe they'll buy a spinnerbait. So because everything bites spinnerbait this time of year. So I threw a little spinnerbait, a little quarter-ounce spinnerbait, and I was hoping to catch white bass or hybrids, but I ended up catching 2 largemouths, which is actually pretty decent-sized largemouth. Kind of surprised, too. They were right on the bank, too. They were right on the bank. I was kind of thinking they would be more out in deeper water, but not these guys. They were right on the bank, and I was kind of surprised I caught them, like the way I did it, too. But, it was a fun day. And they came home, picking my brother, and then we've been kind of just tossing and turning as to where to go for stripers, white bass, and everything. We've been talking about it for about 2 days. So 2 days later, Sunday, fast forward to Wednesday, and on Wednesday, we finally get his kayak rigged out. Finally got all the electronics updated, wiring, everything's done, right? So we go out on Wednesday, go back to Tall Chief. Give me a thumbs up if you guys know where Tall Chief is at. Give me a thumbs up if you even know where Sky Chief is at. So we go out to Tall Chief, and the water's a lot dirtier than I expected. It was actually dirtier than the day before. The day before I was there, it was pretty clear, but then the wind's been blowing crazy on it, so the mud got to it. And go out there, and on the Mega Live, you can see so many fish. This is where the hybrid guys can be. Okay, so I was searching for offshore spots because it's still a pre-spawn deal for bass, right? Well, my brother and another friend of ours, they were fishing fairly shallow. They were fishing less than 10. I was fishing anywhere 15 to 40 feet deep, right? So I'm trying to find a deep bite. That's what I'm trying to do because I know this time of year pre-spawn, they should still be, majority of the fish should still be deep, and the other half should be pre-spawn. Maybe 1 or 2 are right at the bank, right? And that's it. Majority of the fish should still be in that 15 to 25 foot zone. But when we got there, the water was kind of dirty. So the water was kind of dirty, and I was like, I don't know, man. They might be shallow. Like my gut feeling was, you should just go shallow. Should go shallow. Water temps are, there's 3 guys, 3 different water temps. Okay, I was reading like 49. My brother was reading like 47. The other guy was reading like 45. So there's a little difference between all the sensors. Okay, so we go out and they catch 2, like right off the bat. They catch 2. Well, I was still kind of messing with my electronics. So they catch 2 right off the bat. And then I'm like, all right, sounds good. Let's go do something totally different. So we go do totally different things. I threw an A-rig for a while. I threw an A-rig deep and shallow. Couldn't get bit. threw everything else. Threw everything else: crankbaits, jerkbaits, swim baits. Threw a jig for a little bit. I mean, granted, I didn't get to the lake till 5. I didn't get on the water till maybe 5:15, 5:30. And then, it gets dark around 7:30, 7:30, maybe 8. So we only had about 2.5 hours of practice, but got a general idea going, So it's either you're gonna catch them real shallow or you're gonna catch them real deep. That's what I got out of it. But while I was there doing the whole offshore thing, I found so many schools of hybrids, so many schools of white bass, so many schools of crappie. It was ridiculous, but they wouldn't bite anything. That was the other crazy part. So I dropped a drop shot on them. I dropped a Nico rig on them. I dropped an A rig on them. I dropped. I mean, what else did I drop? A jig. I dropped a jig on them, and they just didn't want it, man. They just didn't want it. They just didn't want anything to do with me. It's pretty sad. Out there for 2.5 hours, I was like, at least give me a bite. I think I actually bumped them with my E rig, but they didn't. They didn't want it. It's kind of sad. I kind of want to catch one, but more of the story is, I was out there. I was trying my best. I couldn't get them, so I know what I gotta do for the tournament. Go fish a different area. At least for me, I didn't catch anything. So the other two guys, they might go to that area, but for me, I'm going somewhere else. All right. Yep. Law schools in 45, suspended 20. That's where they're at. That's where all that pre-spawn stuff is at. But they don't want to bite, man. They don't want to bite. At least for me, they didn't want to bite. On game day, it might change. I might still go peek out there, but it felt like they're not going to bite. Somehow, yeah, you got to jerkbait down that far, I guess. Let me read some of the comments here. We got, if there are carp splashing around the water, do you think the white bass and the hybrids are there also? Let me think. I kind of have to remember the situation. That's from Tony Vane. I would have to say they are close by. They might not be in the exact area, but they are close by. Let's see. But in terms of largemouth, okay, if you're not thinking white bass and hybrids, you're thinking largemouth, then yes. When you see carp around, throw the biggest buzzbait you got, and you'll catch some bigs. Okay, there's not gonna be a lot of bass around. When there are, they're big. They're real big, 5, 6, 7 pounders. I know this for sure because last year when we had a tournament on Spavinal in Uchi Lake, and there was a carp spawn going. I mean, that was a crazy carp spawn going. And me and my brother figured it out. We said, you know what? Most people say run away from the carp spawn, but me and my brother headed towards the carp spawn. We were throwing big buzz baits, throwing frog, man. Like I said, you're not gonna get bit like very well. You'll get like maybe 7 bites a day. But when you get those bites, they're all like bigs. They're all 19-inch plus fish. It's crazy because my logic behind that is, okay, so you got the carp spawn, they're dropping eggs, right? Well, something's gonna eat these eggs. Maybe shad, I don't know, but definitely bluegill. Bluegill will eat the eggs, right? So as the shad, bluegills, whatever, are eating eggs, the bass are eating the bluegills. Okay, and a good sized bluegill is not afraid of a small bass. So in order for a bass to eat a bluegill, it's a big bass. Like I said, 19-inch plus. They will eat the bluegill. And when you throw in your baits, try to imitate a bluegill. Okay, a big buzzbait, black bottom, yellow belly. I don't know, but definitely yellow belly on the frog. It just works wonders. That's all it is, and that's all I want Spavinal. We headed up towards some of the flats where the carp are spawning, and fished a lot around carps. For the most part, man, the video didn't show that, but I didn't think anybody wanted to see carps splashing. But that's what it was, Randy, it's gonna be tough. Randy, I think the tournament is going to be very bipolar. Whoever figures out the bite is going to smash it because there's like the fish are not ready to spawn yet. And after this weekend, this storm, one or two things going to happen, right? Either one, this storm, if it's a warm rain, and if we get, especially if we get a lot of it, I feel like the fish will actually move towards the warm water. Okay, they'll move towards it, even though it's muddy water. You might still be able to catch them on spinnerbait, crankbait. Your typical like muddy water fishing, right? Or storm happens, lightning bolt drops, and Florida strain bass they hate it. There are some Floridas in Skytook, not a lot, not enough, put it that way. But they'll definitely pull out. When they pull out, and it's post frontal because it's gonna be bluebird skies. Better get that Ned rig ready. That's all I gotta say. Get the Neds out. Hog Truff. Well, yeah, here's Chur. Chur was the other guy that I know. Alrighty. Sorry, guys. Bunch of people be messaging us. But anyhow, yeah. Kayak tournaments, man. Kayaks, fishing in general, it's pretty fun. We're not gonna do as much of it this year, but we definitely do a lot more just general fishing stuff. So you'll see a lot of kayaks. The big boat is in the shop. The big boat is in the shop. So we're down to just kayaks, and we're down to just the old John boat, the little John boat. So you guys will definitely see a little more of the John boat that's coming up. There's a big project I want to do on the little John boat. I wanna make the engine come up as high as you can off the water. And so there's gonna be a lot of like what they call surface drive action on the little John boat. Then we're gonna basically use it to go up rivers and catch a bunch of white bass. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. We got this idea of building this rig out, right? See how this is like it's a 5 arm, 5 wire firearm. We're gonna build one that's got like 3 layers deep, and we're gonna go through it for white bass. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun. Let me know if you guys want to see something like that. Just doing typical like fun stuff and not too much tournament stuff. Because tournaments are really good, but after a while of doing it, because I can say this now because I feel like I'm kind of veteran at it now. 5 years in, tournaments you get tournament burnout, I guess is what it's called. And don't get me wrong, I still love the tournament world, but it's not fun anymore. Is what I'm trying to get at. Like the first year is real fun, second year real fun, third year still pretty fun, fourth year was like, damn, again. And then last year was a fifth year, going into my 6th year now, I guess. Fifth year, I was kind of like, I'm just gonna go have fun. Don't stress over tournament prep too much. Just go out, have fun, enjoy the scenery. Like they always say, smell the roses. So that's what happened last year. Didn't care about Angler of the Year points. Didn't care about anything else. Just go out, have fun. And I almost won the Angler of the Year, which is really crazy. Okay, compared to the first time where I almost won it was my second year in. I actually tried really hard to win the Angler of the Year, and I lost to Mike by 1 point. And it felt like I think I lost by 1 point again last year. I can't remember, maybe one or two. But last year was a real fun year for me. It was a real fun year. I kind of learned how to like fishing again. Like you learn how to the idea of going out and just exploring. Like that was fun again. So anyways, Skytook. I was out there. I checked a bunch of my stuff, and man, there's a lot of fish. Like I said, there's a lot of fish out deep, but I can't catch them. So more than likely, I'm gonna be on the bank somewhere, either out at Osage or take the risk and or take the gamble and go all the way north to that muddy waters, and they might be biting up there because muddy water for the guys that don't know, the muddy water that's shallow, it will warm up a lot faster than the clear water down by the dam. Clear and deep takes a long time to warm up. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I don't know what I'm doing, but I already got like 8 rods. Yesterday, when I rolled out with 9 rods, and I think I've pretty much narrowed it down to like 4. For me, uh, gonna have to do something I don't like to do. Probably throw a spinnerbait and throw a Ned rig. I don't do that either. Probably gotta throw a jig in there. I don't like to do that much either, although I've gotten a lot better at it. I don't like to jig much. The A rig, I threw it for almost a solid hour yesterday. This rig, I don't think is gonna play. That's why I don't think it's gonna play in that area. Just because I say that because it's too dirty. The water is a little too dirty for the A rig bite. It's a little too dirty. Don't get me wrong. I think you might catch a couple off of it, but solely off the A rig, I feel like you gotta be in the right place, right time. Like you can't just throw it anywhere on the lake and expect to get bit. And like I said, I saw them on live scope or live whatever, and I threw it at them. They didn't want it. I threw the fast one. I threw the small one. I threw everything at them. They just didn't want it. And yesterday was prime conditions too, and they didn't want it. Tomorrow, Friday, lightning thunderbolts, prime day again, and then Saturday. Saturday is going to be horrible. They're probably not going to bite. That's my guess. They're probably not going to bite. And I'm packing a bunch of small baits, so I'm probably going to pack this one again. This is the little square bill from Strike King. Probably going to pack that. And leave this guy at home. See that little popper? Leave that guy home. Don't worry about him. Got a 405 jigs here. Still haven't trimmed it yet. That guy's going for a ride for sure. Yeah, spinnerbait. Couple of spinnerbaits. There you go. That spinnerbait. That one's probably gonna go with me. It's probably gonna go. Yeah. We got that one. We got this one. Muddy water. Real muddy water. Maybe this guy might go. Maybe. This is the year where you throw like these colors too. Bright chartreuse colors. I'm probably gonna be flipping something like this for all the bass guys. And if the hybrids are up there, I'll catch a hybrid and I'll keep it. Okay. But that's not going. That's for stripers. Not going. But all right. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I know there's only 7 guys online, but kind of you didn't announce it that I was gonna go live again. My internet's finally back on. That's why I've been down for 2 weeks. So whatever question goes. I know we're only like 30 minutes in, and these usually go for an hour and a half. So tonight's kind of an open-ended question. Stripers, white bass, doesn't matter. Boat rigging, kayak rigging, let me know. We can answer it. While I'm doing all that, I still got to answer all these emails. All these messages about buying the rigs. So hmm. Okay. All right. Okay. So let me know what you guys think about doing something crazy, right? Uh, so I've been following. I have a bunch of other fishermen that I follow that are not like truly professionals, but they're pretty good, right? And usually the spoon bite, I don't throw the spoon until May, a little into June. But there's one guy out in California, right? He's been saying that he's been throwing the big spoon for the entire winter, and he's been doing real good. And I was messaging him a little bit, and he was like, "Yeah, I haven't even put it down yet." I'm thinking, like, really, a spoon, huh? I might have to incorporate a spoon into my tackle box for Saturday. Yeah, David, been out. Internet's been down. Been pretty busy. Been pretty busy building rigs and everything. So, uh, yeah, basically, I've been thinking about all types of other stuff too. Little rundown the 2 weeks that I missed out on everything. Took the boat in for service. They said that it's probably not going to be back for 6 weeks. So we have no boat, big boat for 6 weeks. So we're done. We're down to kayaks. So we're down to the little John boat, and that's all we got for 6 weeks. The white bass spawn is going to happen. I'm thinking 2 major rainstorms next weekend should be off the hook. Okay, hopefully we get like a major rainstorm too. Hoping for a major rainstorm because we kind of need it actually. And huh? What line sizes do you use to catch white bass? Well, that's a pretty good answer actually. A pretty good question. I'll give you two answers. If you're if you're starting out and you don't know what you're doing, I would say 8 pound monofilament is a really good one. 6 or 8 pound monofilament is really good. If you go with braid, 10 pound braid, really good. Okay, because the white bass won't break 10 pound. They just can't. I don't think they can. Uh, they're more likely they're gonna straighten out your hooks before they break your line. So that's really good. Yep, 6 to 10 pound. It's perfect. And it just kind of depends on how you're fishing it too. So if you're fishing an area that you gotta throw and it's real deep, then the braid kind of goes against you because the braid line floats. The mono floats a little bit, but it's more happy when it sinks. Uh, the braid is built for like say more of a top water thing or something real heavy because oh, let me ask you this: like, what kind of baits are you throwing? See, that's the thing too. If you're throwing top water, then by all means throw it on braid. A good braid, a Power Pro original for I think you can buy it for like 12.99 now for 150 yards. That's a really good starter braid. I still use it to this day. It's a good starter braid. I still use it. So it says something, right? And you ain't gotta go super fancy on that stuff, man. When you guys see us with our videos and we're using G Loomises and NRXs, well, not yet NRX, but we're throwing a lot of expensive. You don't have to do that. Like any Walmart setup, perfect. Yeah, man, this is an online class. It ain't no joke. It is an online class because we're teaching you guys how to fish, and you can ask the teacher some questions too, and he answers. And tell her this is a free class, or you can mess with her. You can tell her I spent $200 on this class. It's every Thursday at 7:30. Yeah, Bass Pro XL is a decent brand. That's a pretty decent brand too. Throwing some brands out there, brands that I have personal experience with. With the world of cheap, in the world of cheap. Oh man, where's it at? I had it. Oh, it's right here. Be right back. Be right back. All right, here we go. I was gonna one of the episodes you could say 2 weeks back was I was gonna go over this. This is stuff I picked up from Walmart for like trout fishing. And when I go trout fishing, I just plan to take my nephews and stuff like that. They go fishing. They don't know what good tackle is, bad tackle is. So when I go, I tend to spend my money on real cheap stuff because a lot of times I only use this maybe once a year and then it just gets lost, right? So when I'm fishing for trout, we just buy Eagle Claws and we buy Eagle Claw swivels. They're pretty cheap. The key to this is actually the treble hooks. This is like size 12 treble hooks, size 10, size 12s. Okay. These are so you put the power bait on it, and it goes down. They swallow it. You got them. The kids don't even have to sit there. You just go and these are real. It's good. So, but this is the one I've been using ever since I was a little kid, right? The Omniflex. I know the thing reverses everything, so it looks kind of weird, but it's the Shakespeare. It used to be Shakespeare, the Zepco bottom, I guess, and now it's the Omniflex. 6-pound line. This is 6-pound line, and it's 700 yards. I think it was only like $3.99. I think it was $3.99. All right. Best place setup technique to start striper fishing for the first time. Okay. Are you local to Oklahoma or are you from somewhere else? Because I could probably give you a spot and 100 people will probably go over there and blow it up. But if you're a beginner, you want to go to a spot that has a lot of fish because if you don't go to a spot that has a lot of fish, then you're not going to do very well. And when you're a beginner, I think as long as you catch one fish, you should be very happy. If you're not happy with just one fish, then you're going to have to kind of drop your standards a little bit, okay? Because I think when you age and you become more of a seasoned fisherman, you will you're more likely to try different things, and you're more likely to experiment. You're more likely to listen to uh, crazy feedback. I call it crazy feedback because there's a lot of what we call doc talk, where people will tell you to do things that are not true, and you'll run into this. Okay, they'll tell you striper fishing is really really good over there. That's a lie. It's a lie. They'll tell you it's biting on. Tell you it's biting on this, when in reality, it's actually biting on this. Okay, doc talk. So if you're a beginner striper fisherman, go watch our video, long range bobbers. Long range bobbers. Go to any of the dams when when uh when the dams are releasing this time of year, especially the long range bobber with the fluke underneath it is probably the best one for a beginning guy to start off with because you don't have to do anything. You just cast it out there and let the current just take it, and then when the bobber falls, you got it. You got one. Okay, so best place to catch a striper still till this day. The best place is still the dams. Now, the dams are definitely the best place because right now they're on their spawning runs, right? During the spawning run, there's there's literally thousands of white bass and stripers at the dams, right? The only thing about that is everybody in the city knows about that too. So when you go there, it might be shoulder to shoulder. I mean, like shoulder to shoulder, shoulder to shoulder. Okay, so just be aware of that. And if you're aware of that, you'll understand. If you don't want to be shoulder to shoulder, still go to the dam. Just keep your distance. Usually, the high traffic is right at the dam. You just want to be a little bit below the dam. farther away from the dam, you should be okay. But if you're a first time person going to dams, don't be surprised if you get cussed out. It's fair warning, man. Fair warning. Because those guys are dedicated fishermen over there. They are super dedicated. They will defend their area, put it that way. And when you go, you have to know the rules of the area. Okay, rules of the area. Uh, if you go and there's already somebody there, you could go next to them. You can't cut them. Okay, don't go in. If he's already like the first guy in line, don't go cut them. When you cast, do not cast over people's lines too. Casting over people's lines will cause fights. I've seen it happen. Just Google combat fishing or river combat fishing, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Using 15-pound braid line, but I'm going to try 8-pound. Hopefully, gain some more distance. Yeah, if you go to 8, you will gain some distance over 15. But a lot of times, it's also dependent on what you're throwing, rod and reel combinations, and I mean, the whole thing balances out. The whole thing. But with your braid, just don't strip it off and throw it in the trash. Put it onto like a water bottle or something, in case the 8-pound doesn't turn out good and you want to go back. Oh yeah, David's got some pretty good points in the comments here. Setting the drag right. So when I was a little kid growing up, we didn't know how to use a drag. Like we did not know how to use a drag. We thought the drag. Well, we're talking spinning rods, right? We thought the drag was just a screw, so you're supposed to tighten it all the way down, so the spool won't spin. We never knew that you could just tighten it down a lot and then allow the spool to spin. We didn't know that. So for the longest time, we were breaking off a lot of fish, And then for the longest time, we actually backpedal. Like you have a really backpedal. Yeah, where is my reels when I need one? Backpedal reel. That's for like extremely big fish. Backpedal. It's actually it works better than your drag. You have full control of the fish. So you set the drag up real heavy, and then you still backpedal it. So you can backpedal when the fish needs to be like given some line, and then you immediately stop and start reeling again. Backpedal, go for it. Backpedal, go for it. It's a lost art. It is definitely a lost art. I don't even do it that much anymore. My brother still does it a little bit, but. Chris Nelson says, has anyone here been able to get out and go fishing today? I bet today was fantastic catching. I didn't go today. I went yesterday, and it wasn't fantastic. Well, it could have been. It could have been fantastic, but it wasn't fantastic for me. I was practicing for a tournament. And, if you're practicing, you're not there to really catch fish. You're there to kind of feel it out, see what's going to happen. All right. But yeah, thunderstorms. Let's talk thunderstorms, right? Thunderstorms during late March and April is money. It's just one of those things where it feels like every fish in the water is hungry and they'll bite anything. That's the crazy part too. They'll bite anything. They're willing to bite anything. They get into like people, especially in Oklahoma. I know you guys can relate to this, right? In Oklahoma, when we get a major snowstorm or a major just whatever, right? Natural disaster that the weatherman or the news predicts is going to happen in the next 2-3 days, all the food, milk, cookies, eggs, at every single grocery store, whether it be Walmart, Reese's, Whole Foods, Costco, Sam's, God, everything's missing. Everything's missing. So that's how the fish feels too, I'm sure, when the lightning storms happen. Will start to happen. It's pretty crazy, man. But the thing is, my problem with this time of year is I fish too fast. That's my problem. I fish too fast. I always get beat by the guys that like the jig people. They drag jigs a lot. Those guys I always get my butt whooped by those guys. So maybe this weekend going in, I'm have to try something like that, just to force myself to drag some jigs. But when it comes to stripers, oh, the other thing was supposedly walleyes are supposed to be hot this weekend. Like that, they're supposed to be spawning this weekend. For all the walleye guys, or if you have a walleye spot you've been waiting for, this is the weekend. According to the wildlife department, I did share that too. The wildlife department, the guy that runs that show, that live show, he was like, "This weekend is the weekend. This weekend is the weekend." Ooh, some crazy looking hooks. All right, yeah. Dan Long says, "I set the drag on low and have fun with them." That's true. That is very true. So white bass, stripers, hybrids, they are by far the best fighting fish. And you better set that drag right because they're the only fish, well, at least in my world, that can break your lines. 20-pound mono, they'll break it. Uh, 15, definitely gonna break it. Uh, 10, you better know what you're doing. Basically, good fish, good fighting fish, man. Stripers especially. I used to fish with stripers with 6-pound line, and that was good times, man. That was real good times because you imagine catching like a 30-inch striper in open water on 6-pound line. That guy will. You're at the mercy of that guy, and when you set the drag, even if you set the drag like fairly tight for 6-pound line, and if you're on 6-pound line, you're on like a medium light action rod, so you don't have the power to turn this fish at all. So as soon as he hits and you set the hook, it's just zip, 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 I don't know, 50 yards, and then he finally starts to stop, and you're just kind of like, come on, I got you. Zip, 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 zip. It's a whole new world. It's a whole new world, especially on the striper side, because that's just how that fish works. And then by the time you get him in, that fish is like that fish is worn out. Okay, then he's worn out. Like I used to call it float them in. Like there's no way you can bring him in while he's still hot. The only way you can bring him in is if he's so exhausted, he's already floating to the top, and he looks like a log when you bring him in. Like you don't even want to move. That's how I used to catch him all the time. Yep. I don't even have a place besides Ulaga. Ulaga is a really good place for white bass and hybrids, especially below dam. Walleyes, hit and miss. Uluga Dam, hit and miss. But they're down there. We've caught a lot. We've caught a lot of hybrids and white bass stuff like that. It's not as good as it used to be. Uluga Dam it's definitely been fished out. Uh, because I remember when I first got here, 2005, 2006, 2007. There was a lot of white bass. I mean, when you went fishing there, you were snagging white bass. If you threw a double crappie jig, you were catching two crappies at a time, or two white bass at a time, or a crappie white bass at a time. Hardly have those days anymore. Hardly have those days anymore. Below the dam. Lakeside is a totally different story. Lakeside's infested with white bass. Get a boat, go to Lakeside. Or rent a pontoon. One of the marinas rent a pontoon up there too. And during, I think it's the August month, is when they hit the top water real good. You go out there just about every other afternoon. You can just see the white bass just blitzing on these little shads. It's pretty crazy. I need to record all that stuff and show you guys. But yep, good times, man. The season's officially started, man. With this snowstorm, I mean, with this rainstorm that's about to happen. I think my season's officially started, at least on the striper fishing side. And we haven't been out very much. Oh, actually, I can't say that. We have been out. We just haven't been catching much because we're not going to our usual spots right now. We're going to areas that have clean, clear water because we're doing a bunch of video footage for our lures. Oh, and we are working on some topwater lures, so we'll show you those in a bit. I plan to have something for you guys here in the next month in terms of pricing and everything. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to offer like a topwater. It's just a head and spoon, right? But it'll be like good hooks and a paint job that will work for muddy water because a lot of the lures that are out there that we see right now, they are not designed for muddy water. Like a lot of people don't think a topwater is for clear water. Well, if you live in Oklahoma, half your fishing spots are muddy water. So if they're muddy, then you need to get a different color scheme. And on top of that, I think most of our viewers that buy the topwaters, they're one of two guys, right? They're either one bass fisherman or two, they're a striper fisherman. They want to throw as far as they can go. And a lot of times the lures that you buy at the stores, they're just okay. They're not like great. So every time we buy lures, we always change the hooks out. We especially for stripers, always change the hooks out. Always change the split rings out, and we always drill them. Either we just drill them, fill them with epoxy, or we drill them and we have to add more BBs to them so they're heavier so they can cast farther. So that's something we're looking into doing. Let us know if you guys are interested in something like that. They will be kind of priced about or a little bit above what you can buy at the stores, but like I said, it's good hooks. It's color schemes for Oklahoma or muddier water, muddy, dingy water. Because I say that because I think a lot of our water, Tennessee, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, a lot of the waters that we fish, they're not gin clear like in California, like in Minnesota, where it's like a natural lake and the water literally looks like the pool water, like your pool water. Where Oklahoma, it's like so when I say pool water, I'm talking like 10+ feet of visibility, right? In Oklahoma, I don't know if we have a lake that has 10 feet of visibility. I don't know. I mean, it might get to 10+ during the summer months or the winter months, but we don't have 10 feet of visibility all the time. Yeah, so David, the reason why your hooks are bending out is because you're on braid. So let me kind of explain that. So, so the guys that don't understand what we're talking about when we say the stripers are bending your hooks out, so you take this lure, right? You got these trebles on there. It's really easy for a striper to bend this hook out. Like all he has to do is just nip here, and as he's running, your lure's not doing this, right? But if he caught it like this, like he came over, he snipped it on this end, and then he's pulling it back this way, and in turn he's prying on that point. And you're on braid, there's no give. So the only give there is the hook. So the hook will have to give. So if you're gonna be fishing braid, then you need to one, give it a lot more drag than you're used to, or two, the rod that you have needs to be real limber. Okay. So I have this jerkbait rod. I use it for top waters, and every time I catch a hybrid on it, I gotta back the drag way off. Because I know there's too many times when a hybrid, even a good size hook, like this is a size 4, right? Size 4 owner. It's a high quality hook. It's super sharp, but hybrids will, man, they just mangle the crap out of it. So whenever I hook it away on its initial burst, I just back the drag off, and I'm always like, just wait him out. He can't run forever. Hopefully he can't run forever, and then you fight him. And let me explain the fight too, because this is something that no one talks about online. How to properly fight the fish, right? So when you're fighting the fish, if you have good equipment, then you can set the drags up a little higher. But when you set the drags real high, there's really two trains of thought, right? One, get the fish in as fast as you can, or two, enjoy the process, right? Enjoy the fight. That's the whole reason why you're fishing for stripers anyway, because of the fight. So when you throw something like you get smashed, whether it's under the water or on top of the water, you set the hook. On a striper, hybrid, and a white bass, the first thing they'll do is burst. They will run for their lives. A largemouth bass, not so much, right? But the other guys, you hit them, they feel pain, they run. When they run, there's nothing you can do. There literally is nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Just wait them out. Just hold it. Just hold the rod, and let the drag just go. So the drag's like going this way, right? Because it's going reverse. This is normal. This is reverse. So it's just literally just going, and you just gotta wait him out. And when as soon as he like tries to stop, then you can basically pump, reel, pump, reel, pump, reel, pump. Just do that, and if he takes off again, just hold it. Pump, reel, pump, reel, and then before you know it, he's at the bank. But some of them won't get away. Some of them won't get away. They straighten out the hooks, so they won't get away. There's nothing you can do about it. North Carolina already landing a lot of small male stripers right now with the weather and thunderstorms. I feel like the males come in first, big females in the April months. Let me show you what I think about that. Fishing Finesse Fun. That was from Fishing Finesse Fun. He's based out of North Carolina. North Carolina and Oklahoma, California, Sacramento, kind of the general latitude, I guess. Latitude, longitude. I can't remember which one. The one that goes sideways. When I was fishing in New England, right, in Massachusetts, where there's fresh water that mixes with the salt water, and the stripers run up the rivers to spawn in fresh water, this is what usually happens. For the guys that want a gem tonight, a nugget for the knowledge, a nugget for the mind, right? This is a piece of information for you guys. The very, 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 very first wave, of spawners are the what I call second biggest of the groups of the waves that are coming. So let me explain that in depth, because I feel like a lot of people might not understand if I don't paint the picture, right? So let me paint the picture. So the picture is today, right? You're going out fishing, you're checking your creeks, your rivers. There's no activity, there's no fish. Okay, cool. Nothing, right? You go again tomorrow, you catch one. And then you continue to catch them every day until, say, late April, right? So from day 1 to day 30, you're on them. They're there, they're biting, right? So day 1, when you're there, if you actually fish all 30 days, okay? And this is based on my knowledge. It's not like something I read anywhere. The first fish to get there, in my opinion, is the second. So say there's like 10 waves of fish, right? The first batch of fish that gets there is the second biggest batch. So if there's 10 batches that come out and they spawn, right? And you can like somehow categorize them just based on feeling of how they're your friends, everybody's been catching them. The first wave. Now, this is the crazy part, because the first wave that's there, you might not catch the first wave. When you go out, you might have already either completely missed the first wave, or you're too early. First wave's not there yet, right? But I've enough experience to say that the very first fish, because I've actually done this in the bass world all the time too. If you're out there and you're not catching anything, and then all of a sudden you go out there and you catch one, it's usually a good one. Not the biggest one, but a good one. And then this is with stripers too. It's going to be a good one. Like hybrids and white bass, same thing. The first wave is usually above average, an above average wave. I feel like these are the fish that have been waiting all winter. They want to go spawn. Very first chance they get, they go. That's that wave. The initial wave, the the first wave, second biggest of the group. And then right after that, you get all the little fish. Like it just goes from like above average to little fish. All right. So if you go out there, you're catching just little fish after little fish after little fish. In the bass world, they call it bucks, right? These are the buck bass or males, small males. You've already missed it. Like the initial run. And then the initial big run is not a big run, too. It's like 1 day, 2 days, but they're above average quality fish. And then but there's not, and also there's not a lot of them. Okay, that's the thing. There's not a lot of these guys or girls. There's not a lot of them, and they just poof disappear again. They just disappear, and then you go out and you like see this is the crazy part, right? So if you're the guy that was there, you will tell people they're not gonna believe you, but they tried anyway. So, but then when they go out, all they catch are small fish, and they call you a liar. It always happens that way. Okay, always happens that way. And then you can see the progression, right? Days, day 10 to day 15, you get like that average group to come up, and then that's just all crazy after that. Big ones, small ones, everywhere. And then the very, very, very telling end, right? The telling end is where the biggest, the biggest groups of female stripers they come in, the biggest ones. And when you're catching that last flight or last wave, you don't catch a lot either, but they're all like crazy quality. Like your personal best is probably in there. Okay, that's what it is. I don't know why. I don't know why fish do it that way. Yep, that's Dan. Yeah, Dan, that's fishing right. See, that's the thing about the dams. That's why I don't do dams too much anymore, or at least I do it when I know there's not a lot of people. I'll get in early, or I'll stay late. I try to avoid the crowds. You know, try to avoid the crowds. But at the same time, if you're just looking for a good time, a good time, you don't mind rubbing elbows with people a little bit. The dams are fine. I've had good and I've had bad experiences in the dam, man. I've had experiences where it didn't involve me personally, but you're standing next to somebody and they are just like hot. They were there's two people fighting literally verbal fighting to the point where there's arms like punched up, like hunched up, ready to go, stuff like that. This is not my cup of tea. So I call it quits on that. That's why I bought a boat. So that's a natural progression of fishermen too. So when you get tired of fishing on the bank, when you get tired of fishing on next to people, you you go to the next level. The next level is get a boat of some kind. Get a kayak, get a boat, get a rowboat, get a john boat, find a new place, buy some property, lakeside, stuff like that. Let's see. In the fall migration, when all I catch are 12-inch stripers, I know it's almost over. Yeah, pretty much. In the fall, it feels like it's so. If you're gonna break up the year, right? The winter time, going into the spawn is probably when you're gonna catch your heaviest fish because all the eggs, they don't move much. They eat a lot during the winter time, so there's a lot of fat on them. They're just really heavy, right? Spawn happens, and everybody's catching them. It's probably the time of year where white bass hybrids and stripers are harvested the most. Like in any given month, that would be the month that they're most harvested. Okay, and then it goes into post spawn. Post spawn, they leave the dams, they leave the creeks, so now it's all river. No, it's all boat fishing for the most part, or unless if you have a lake that's public access all the way around. Uh, there's a lot of just like early mornings or late night kind of cranking type stuff. You don't catch a lot of fish. You do catch big fish, but you don't catch a lot. Not like every other cast. You might have to work for your bites. Okay, and in the fall, that's when the topwater bite really starts. You'll get like sporadic topwater in June, but the good topwater starts. This is, and I say good, I'm talking like 5 or 6 hours just topwater blitz from the stripers and the white bass. It just happens, right? And it's crazy, but it's never big fish. It's always small fish. And you said stripers, right? It's on Texoma. Every time in the late fall I go to Texoma, it's always, oh yeah, they're blowing up out there, but they're all, less than 18 inches. You never catch those 30s, nothing like that. And then in the fall, I feel like you're once again likely to catch bigger fish, but there's so many little fish that it's hard to like target a big fish. That's what it is, man. That's kind of the whole thing about stripers, and that's another thing about me too. Is I like to throw the big spoon in June on offshore humps because I'm targeting those bigger stripers and bigger hybrids. Okay, that's why I want to do it. 14 guys. Actually, that's not bad. 15 people. 14, 15 for not even announcing that I'm going to go live tonight. It's pretty good. So let me know where everybody's from. I have no idea where everybody's from. I know two guys are local out of the 15 that are on right now. So let me know where you guys are from. Why you guys even like striper fishing? Stripers and hybrids and white bass. Because I'm just curious. I like to know who I'm talking to. I like to see what interests you guys and why you guys are all tackle junkies and why you're hiding from your wife, pretending like this is a class. Inola backwoods medic. Inola. I got a couple friends that live in Inola. Cool, cool. Long Island multi-species angler. Hey, Long Island, New York, huh? Long Island. Isn't that like basically Montauk? Long Island from Hooked Up. Northwest Arkansas. I want to catch a striper below Beaver Lake from a kayak. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do too. Backwoods Netic. Never been striper fishing, but plan to go this year. Yeah, striper fishing will change your life. Basically, put it that way, because those fish, especially if you catch a big one and it breaks you off, it'll mess with you. It'll mess with you for a while. It'll mess with you. All the other fish can't do that. This is the only fish in Oklahoma that can really do that. And they hit top waters. And, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's just so good. Glenpool. All right, all right, all right, all right. Tony, local. All right. All right. So, all the local guys, if you guys see us out there, we are planning a meet and greet. Let me know if you guys are interested, because if we can get at least 10 guys interested, then we'll throw it. But if we can't get at least 10 guys interested, then we're probably not going to throw it. Well, because I've been thinking about where to do it too. Um, whether it's going to be like, say, like Keystone, or whether it's going to be on the lake, like a Skyatech or something like that, where everybody just kind of goes. Uh, this is what I'm thinking. Let me know what you guys think, because I need user feedback. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm gonna rent a little like picnic area, maybe like two tables, and then the two tables are just really close to each other. It's not gonna be on a holiday weekend because that's just a horrible idea. All right, uh, we're gonna rent two tables. It's probably gonna be like $30 a piece, and then basically it's gonna just be like today, right? Say tomorrow. Say for example it's tomorrow, and it might just be like it's a meet and greet at say 11 o'clock in the morning, 11 a.m. Right? But we're gonna be out there at 5 fishing. Okay, so it's not just a traditional meet and greet. It'll be like a meet and greet slash catch and cook. Is how I want to do it. So you're welcome to come out there. You're welcome to come fish with us. Bring your boat, bring your kayak. You're on the bank. Doesn't matter. We'll definitely cook something. So I might have a little like grill, or I might have a big grill. I don't even know yet. And if we catch something, we'll cook it. Well, I say we, but you guys will all cook it, and then do a little video about that, and then probably be done by 2 or 3. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. Catch and cook slash, yeah, it'll be a catch and cook slash meet and greet. So that way, not that way we're not all just like sitting around talking about fishing. We're actually, you know, went fishing and came back. So there's a couple places that I would like to do that on. Um, Places where like some of the local guys, can actually go fishing too. So Skytook is a good lake that could do that. I don't know how the hybrid fishing is going to be, but it might be good. It might be bad. I don't know. Keystone's definitely good because there's a dam right there. They could definitely catch some fish, some white bass especially. And the other place I've been thinking about is Tahlequah. Like lower Illinois, lots of stripers in the area, just lots of fish in general. But it's more of a boat kind of deal. Unless the water's off. If the water's off, it'd be pretty cool. But if the water's not off, then it's kind of not as cool. So planning something like that. I know a lot of guys have been talking about it. They've been wanting us to do it, but we just haven't had like the perfect area hasn't come up yet. Because like I said, I kind of want to do a catch and cook in there too. Because I know everyone's gonna be hungry. So it gives you guys a chance to come and hang out. Yep. Yep. Fishing finesse fun. He knows. Charlotte, North Carolina, man. Striper addiction is a serious thing. So let me tell you the striper addiction versus the bass addiction. The striper crowd versus the bass crowd. Put it that way. The bass crowd tend to be more lazy. Tend to be, okay? Let's say tend, okay? Tend to be more lazy because if they're not tournament fishermen, they're not willing to wake up at 4 in the morning to go fishing. They're not willing to do it. Like I've never heard a fisherman say a bass fisherman like a casual bass fisherman say, "We're gonna get up at 4 in the morning and make sure you got your headlights, and we're gonna go fishing from 5 to 8:30, and we'll come home." I've never heard a bass fisherman do that. But when you are a tournament fisherman, then you start hearing that. See, bass fishermen are either like super lazy or super dedicated, one or two. So the tournament guys are kind of like crazy because they literally drive all over the place, going to all these lakes that they've never been to, no idea what they're doing, but there's a tournament, so I'm going. Like, what? Guilty, okay? Guilty. I've done it, okay? And when you're a bass tournament fisherman, you wake up at 2 in the morning, you go to tournaments, and you probably don't get back to 11 at night. And then you might do it all over again tomorrow. It's pretty crazy, right? But the striper crowd, we're very about the same, right? Everybody understands that there's a morning bite, so everybody needs to go fish early. There's also a late afternoon bite. Everybody goes out late. And everybody also understands there's a night bite. There's a real good night bite. So a lot of people, it's not unusual to go fish at night. Not unusual at all. In the bass fishing world, it's a bit unusual. It's a bit unusual to hear a bass fisherman talk about nighttime fishing. It's a little unusual. But I feel like the striper crowd is a little bit better because they're more willing to share some secrets with you, or at least more willing to tell you about fishing spots. The bass tournament, the bass world is very very hush hush. Like they don't tell you what kind of lures they're using because I understand there's some money involved, but still, it's like damn, not even like a clue. Does it have blades? What color is it? They won't even tell you that. All right. All right, Chris Nelson from Tulsa and surrounding now live in Fort Smith, Arkansas. I've been fishing for stripers in a canoe on Beaver Lake too. Beavers are. I keep hearing so many good things about beaver. I do want to come to Beaver. My other guy, 47. That's all he talks about. He follows the. There's a Beavers striper fishing club or something like that on Facebook. He's always like telling me about it. He's like, we gotta go to Beaver. We gotta go to Beaver. I'm like, yeah, we should. I just don't know anything about beavers. So if I go, I have to spend a couple days just to kind of figure the lake out, kind of figure out how the stripers like to do business on the lake. And I understand it's a clear lake, so they're probably down real deep. You're probably gonna have to chase them on some type of advanced sonar, which we do have, but typically on clear lakes, my understanding is they're more nocturnal fish. Those stripers are more active at night. Uh, I don't know, just how it is, I guess. Let me see. So the other thing is, are you guys always a catch and keep guy, or do you guys catch and release, or do you guys just release all the time, or are you guys like selective harvesters, kind of like we are right now? We're selective harvesters. So basically, what a selective harvester is what size of fish tastes good, so you only keep that size. Because I'll give you an example, right? The best if you're gonna make striper soups, right? Where you're like you literally chop up the fish and you put it in the soup and it boils, right? In a pot. In my opinion, a striper that's over 20 inches is not that good anymore. It's just not. The meat gets a little tough. The meat gets a little tough. It's not the best tasting fish. But if you're gonna do striper heads, fish head soup, you guys know what I'm talking about. Fish head soup, the bigger the fish, the better it is. Right? Yeah, let me know if you guys know what I'm talking about. If you're gonna do grilled fish, that 24 to 30-inch striper is perfect for grilled fish. I'm not talking where you grill the whole thing. I'm talking like if you you do like the rib thing where you basically it's like tomahawks, right? You do the tomahawk style where you cut like two ribs and you grill it. The 24 inches probably best one. Got enough meats on it. It's a little tougher so it doesn't fall apart easy on the grill. And you finally got enough meat on the dang thing, right? Uh, Mark H, I've never caught a striper, so I definitely keep it. If you've never caught a striper, definitely keep it. Definitely cook it. Okay, it is a different tasting fish. Just be aware there's a bloodline right down the fillet, right in the middle of the fillet. Well, right down the middle of the lateral line that goes across the fish. The top half of the fillet, the bottom half of the fillet, where they come and they join, there's a bloodline. Just cut that off because it's got a real bad taste if you don't. Oh, the other thing about the stripers and white bass, for the guys that have never done it before, is when you catch them and you plan to keep them already, cut the gills, bleed them out. The, the meat tastes so much better. It's so much better after you do it. Just like the white bass, but it's even worse. It's even worse on the stripers. It's like the lateral line is probably twice as thick. Probably twice as thick than the white bass. But bleed them out. If you bleed them out and you cut that bloodline out, it tastes like crappie after that. But it's thick crappie. The only thing about crappies I don't like is they're so dang thin. Like if you go to fillet a crappie, you understand that crappie is only like this thick, right? Like the whole body of a crappie is only that thick, and you go to fillet it, you'll get like a piece like that. there's like no meat on crappie. Oh, sorry. But yeah, crazy man, Crazy crappie. I like me some crappies, but the only thing I do with crappies is just uh, I deep fry them. Deep fry them, tomato sauce on top is the best. And then my dad sometimes he wants to deep fry them to the point where they're almost burnt. Like you know that dark brown where you put it deep fry for an extra say 2 minutes and it turns to a dark brown, but it's not burnt yet. Like it's not bitter yet, but it's getting close, right? My dad really likes that. Do like that. Deep fry it and then put it back in a pot and boil it. Add all your like herbs and spices. So good. So good. Yeah. Yeah, the big fish, man, like we got to the point where we've been releasing a lot of big fish. A lot of big fish that we don't show on YouTube. Because I don't know. Maybe I'm caving into the pressure too, because a lot of people they don't want you to show the big fish, because if you do, then an area might be blown out, the next couple of years. But whatever, fishing's fishing. It's all public space, but still, same time, there's a couple spots where we've never showed footage of, or if we did, you guys wouldn't know where it's at. And some of those places, they're not hard to find. They're just off the beaten path. Okay. Oh yeah, 120% of fish head soup. Oh yeah, fish head soup. That's the best. Like I used to up in New England where we used to live out in Massachusetts when we catch those 36-inch stripers with the big old. I don't know what it is, but the ocean stripers they have a big head like compared to the freshwater stripers. I don't know. Maybe I could be imagining, but that's some good eating. Yeah, that's some good eating, man. That's some real good eating where you take like just one striper head and you can turn it. You can almost feed the entire family with it. Basically, it's super good. It's super good. Yep. Selective harvesting. Eat smallest that's legal. Big ones are just not as tasty. Yep. That's what it says, man. It's true too. Unless you're a commercial fisherman and you wanna, you're limited to like say, one or two catches per week, then you want to catch the biggest ones because when you're a commercial harvester, for the most part they're paying by the pound, so you want to get the best one. But all the fishermen know, all the actual fishermen they know. If you want the best tasting stripers, best tasting under 20 inches, best tasting but it's got good amounts of meat, 24 to 30. Once you go over 30, that meat gets tough. It's not as good. Unless you plan to do something else with it, because there's also the uh, the meatball or the sausage or the hamburger patty theory, right? If you're gonna take the meat and grind it, then at that point it doesn't really matter anymore. It doesn't really matter anymore. What I'm saying is, when it comes to taste, is like if you're gonna fillet it or if you're gonna uh, grill it, something like that, then it really does matter. And I feel like the bigger the fish, the stinkier it gets too. I'm talking about that fish smell, that wild game fish smell. Let me know if you guys know what I'm talking about, because it seems like the little fish don't smell as bad. You know, you don't have to wash them as much. How's PB been for you guys? Uh, Explain what PB is. Lot over 30 inches in strippers, for sure. For sure. So when the striper's over 30, there's a couple dishes that kind of pop up, right? So you got the fish head soup, and then you got the tails and the collars kind of go along with that fish head soup. And then you got the main meat that's left, right? I would venture to say in the Southeast Asian world, 95% of those guys think about fish la. That's it. Make fish la. Oh, pump back. Pump back. We haven't been to pump back lately. Last time I went there, I broke an egg rig off, And okay, that video I still need to edit, and you'll probably watch it. But pump back, I haven't been out there in a long time. But it should still be good. Pretty spawn. Just focus your attention on points. Hybrids we haven't caught very well this year. We haven't located the stripers, the white bass hybrids out there. Although I could have possibly hooked into my personal best and I broke it off because we was out there. Last time we were out there, it was in January. Yeah, so I haven't been out there in like a month and a half. But last time we were out there, the fish were just deep. I mean, they were just deep, deep. Like you couldn't catch anything above 20 feet, right? Above 20 foot deep. Everything that I got bid on was 35, 45, 55 feet. And I dropped the A rig down to I was well put it this way. One half of the lake with that we're used to fishing, somehow all the fish disappeared on, right? So we was talking to this local guy and he was like, yeah, you just want to just, catch fish, just go up to this area. And so we did. Got up there and it just lit up. Like for some reason all the fish went in this one little pocket. So we got up there, everybody's fishing, me, my brother, my cousin. They're focusing shallow. 20 foot and less, and I'm already like, I'm trying to catch something out of like 65, right? So I throw everything at them. Well, actually, this is still a rig, the Demiki rig that I got from Pumpback, right? So threw that at them. They kept nipping it, but they wouldn't take the whole thing. They kept nipping the tail. I don't know what happened. I must have got bit like 10 times on the Demiki and no hookup. One time I actually swung real hard and it was already like moving and it came off. So it could have been a catfish, I don't know, but I dropped an A rig down through a school of shad, right? I literally threw a school of shad and something grabbed onto it and it like didn't at first I didn't know it was hooked, right? So that's how big this fish was. So I dropped it, the sonar. Okay, so we're on pump back. It's all sonar fishing right now. Don't even try the bank. It's not worth your time. Traditional 2D sonar was what I was using. I wasn't using anything fancy like Mega Live and like that. Although I need to go back with Mega Live and play with those fish, but regardless, I see some fish. It's deep. It's like okay, so the ground's a 90 at about 75. There was like a billion shad, right? And then you can see fish coming in and out of the shad. So that means they're angry. They're angry at the shad. They're feeding on the shad. And then about 65, 55, you see all these cruising fish. I don't know what they were, but they were cruising, right? So I dropped the A rig that deep. I dropped it all the way to like that 65-foot zone. And I got this fish that came out the shad balls and came and looked at our clear A rig, right? It didn't want it, so I dropped it. As soon as I dropped it, another one came up, and it felt like this one followed it, right? So it's all going down. This one's coming up. The A rig's falling, and I stopped the rig, and then I just see this the 2U sonar. It just comes and it's just like that, and I pull up on it, and this thing took off. Like took off. Like it dug hard. It was the hardest fighting fish I've ever hooked on pumpback, right? I never thought a fish could break 20-pound fluorocarbon. 20-pound fluorocarbon, right? So I was like, oh, God. Oh, hold on. Snap. What the hell just happened? That's basically what I was. So I was kind of mad. That was the only ring I had that day too. But yeah, if you go out there, just plan fish deep. They should be coming up though. But last I heard, Palmback, they were like when we fished it the very first time, they drained the lake 20 some feet, and then when I went back, they pumped it up 15. I went back, it was at full pool, and then a couple other local guys they got in touch with us. They told us the lake is back down. Like last week, it was down. So I don't know what's going on at Palmback right now. Lucky says you fall out dams is the deal. And I would have to agree with him. The reason why you fall dam is the deal is because there's almost no pressure on those fish after the dam. Like all those fish are caught at the dam. Like if you go a quarter mile after the dam, it's all private property. There's nobody down there. Hence why we're building the boat just for that place. There's nobody down there. I'm just assuming that if you could get an airboat or something of that nature down there during the summers where the water is shut off, you're probably gonna have the best time of your life. You're probably gonna have the best time of your life. Uh, just because, like I said, from the Eufaula Dam all the way down to where it goes into the Arkansas River and the Robert S. Kerr Reservoir feeds it. No, not feeds it, but it flows into that. That stretch of, I don't even know, like 15, 20 miles. I never measured it, but it's all private property. It's all private property. Some good deep holes over there, and it's untouched. It's like Alaska, okay? Nobody knows about it. And no one's willing to talk about it, pretty much. All right, we got a pretty good question. This is more of a higher end question for those guys that are higher end tackle guys. Which do you prefer, Lucky Craft, Dual Reals, or Mega Bass? All right, so the deal on that, right? Day to day, Mega Bass. If you're not telling me what's going to happen on the lake, it's Mega Bass all day. Division 110 has won too much money for me. 110, right? That's a 110. Not the actual Mega Bass, that's a copycat, but I got a whole tackle like box. Probably $500-$600 worth of Mega Bass Visions. Okay? It's that good. I have a lot of confidence in it. I don't throw it for stripers, put it that way, because they're too expensive. I only throw them on tournament day. Okay? That's the only time I really throw the genuine Mega Bass. Now, that's only a part of the answer, okay? Because I really like the Lucky Craft 70 pointers, the deep, right? The deep 70 pointer, really good. It has its moments because that 70, I feel like that 70 performs better than the 110 Junior, right? It definitely performs better than 110 Junior. Like in my book, it's not even close. So 110 size, Mega Bass. The 70, 80, 90, whatever the other sizes, the little smaller size, Lucky Craft. Lucky Craft's got it on lock, okay? When you jump to the 120 size, I like the Realis. I think the Realis has a better bait. It flies better. It darts better at that size. Hope that helps. I don't probably confuse the crap out of you now, but that's what I've been playing with. For the first 3 or 4 years of bass fishing, I've pretty much bought every single drink bait out there. You know, fake ones like that, authentic ones, JDM ones, all the Strike Kings, all the what brand was that? Livingston, bought those too. Yeah, spent too much money on that stuff, but you learn a lot. So right now, we're going into these. These are the fake ones or copycat ones, and there's a million copycats, right? I'll show you guys this. It's the Vision 110 copycat, right? But there's so many of them that do such a crappy copy of Mega Bass that I don't approve of any of them anymore. There's only one company that makes one that I still like, and that is the. This is for Lucky, okay? Lucky. If you don't want to spend the Mega Bass price, but you still want Mega Bass performance, right? Or at least close to it. There's a company out of Missouri makes it. The company is called Head Hunter Lures. They make the Vision 110. Their colors are really good, and it casts almost as good as the Mega Bass. almost as good. Almost as good. And every time we go hybrid fishing, white bass fishing, uh, uh, walleye fishing, anything that's not tournament wise, we throw that brand. If it's tournaments, we still throw it, but I leaned heavy towards the mega bass at that moment. Yeah, lucky. Big tip for you, bro. Try to fish when the water's not on. Figure something out because we were like that too at one time. Um, when Keystone we first got here, right? We only fished Keystone when the water was on. Kind of this whole pattern thing of doing the opposite thing compared to what the entire world is doing. Started out in Massachusetts, right? So when we were up north, there was these rivers that the stripers run up, and they follow these the bait fish. It's called herring up there, and there's like certain days of the week when you can't catch herring and use them as bait. So the stripers are special. I think it's like Tuesdays and Thursdays, or it's a Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You cannot catch herring. So that kind of sucks, right? That kind of sucks. To be honest with you, that kind of sucks for the most of us. But then we thought, wait, why wouldn't you not go fishing on the day they were not allowing you to use herring, but just figure out a different way, right? A different way to catch stripers. So that's when we figured out the whole throwing big jerk baits at night, slow rolling big jerk baits at night. So now it didn't matter whether you can take herring and use them as bait or not. We'll say with the dam, right? So if you're only going to go with the dam is on, then I think you're missing half the fun. Figure out a way to catch them when the water's off. Figure out a way to catch them because once you do, you will never go back. You'll never go back. Random question. Would you cast farther with a 2 ounce lure on a rod weighted for 1.5, 1 to 4, 11 4, or would you cast farther with a 3 4 on a rod rated for 2 to 6? Okay. So you don't you don't know unless you try. Basically, it's gonna boil down to that because we've between me and my brothers and our clique of like fishermen we have, I think we've pretty much tried everything. Pretty much tried everything. And there is no that works because it sounds good on paper. Because every rod company is different. I say that because we have a lot of experience with the St. Croix brand, right? The St. Croix, there's like 3, 4 guys that have the St. Croix Legend, right? The 11 foot Legend. And I think it's rated 1 to 6, right? But really, that rod, you shouldn't be throwing anything over 3 ounces. And that's why I want to get to the point where uh, the rod rating doesn't matter that much. Okay, so when you're trying to cast really really far, 20 pound line is a must. So it feels like you got that checked off. So 20 pound braid, get the Power Pro Max Quattro. So that's the smallest 20 pound braid you can get, basically, out there. That's this brand name that you can trust, right? So that's the one, right? 20. If you got 20 pound braid from a different company, then it might not cast as far also. So that's the one we like. That's the one we trust, right? Max Quattro. It's probably the most expensive one out there too. The Max Quattro. Uh, when it comes to the weight of the lure, it is very important, but also the shape of the lure is very important because now you're getting into the idea of aerodynamics and all this other stuff, and it has to be not just weighted, but it has to be tail weighted. Okay, because if it's not tail weighted, when you fling it hard, it starts wobbling. If your lure is doing any type of wobbling, it's not max potential. Okay, so that lure, when you whip it, it has to be like bullet. That's it. If it's not bullet, it's not going very far. And time over time, time after time, actually, we've tried everything. So we've tried a big lure that's 3 ounces, and we tried a little lure that was 3 ounces. The little lure always outperforms the big lure, always, every time. So it really kind of boils down to like your bait fish in your area and what you like to do. Okay, so in our area, we've bought every single top water out there too. By the way, we've bought Gibbs, at least all the mainstream ones, right? The Gibbs, the GT minnows, the Shimano Orcas, the Williamson, whatever they call it up there. But basically all the pencil styles, right? All the Cordels, all the tsunamis, I'm a little state, evergreen shower blows. I mean, if you name it, we probably at one point bought one to try. And it comes down to this. If you're looking for maximum distance, right, the 11, 12-foot rods typically, for the average person, cast farther, right? With 20-pound line, and you want to cast a lure that's like thin, right? Not like round, big round, but the smaller it is, the farther it will go. And you weight it just right, tell it goes the farthest. So after 2, 3 years of drilling, well, this is my brother's knowledge, but drilling, trying all types of different things. Uh, if you're still talking top water, the pencil popper, that's a 6 inch pencil popper, a 6 inch pencil popper, weighted to 2.5, roughly, cast the farthest. Casts the farthest. And like I said, we've tried every other possible combination. The only thing that could beat that is one, a cast master. You know what a cast master is? It's basically a chunk of lead. And two, an actual chunk of lead. Okay? Those are the only two things that can beat a weighted 6 inch pencil popper. That's thin, not thick. Because if you look at the Cordell is a 7 inch, I think. It's got a fat bottom end on it. It's not very aerodynamic when you whip it. It's still good, don't get me wrong. Weighted, it whips good. But if you want that maximum 100, 130 yards, we're talking yards, hard to beat. Hard to beat those like shower blows, I'm a little sticks, things like that. They go far. Distance is everything. Fangly, yeah. You know what I'm talking about? When you're at the dam and you're like, bro, they're like 120 feet, 120 yards out, and I can only cast 100 yards or 60 yards for that matter. You're literally don't even, you're like depressed in a sense. You have fishing depression at that point, right? And you're like, I can't reach them. I just hope they come closer, right? And then somebody just shows up with a proper setup and they whip it and it's like 130 yards. Like they whip it so far, you don't even see the lure splash. That's how far it goes, right? That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking like they whipped it pretty dang far, right? Until you have that moment, and you're not gonna believe me until you see that. But once you see it, it literally changes your life. It literally changes your life. It's kind of like you start thinking about like lines, start thinking about like how you actually cast. Like when you cast, your form matters now. Okay, we have a video on that too. Go watch it if you guys have it. How to cast over 125 yards. Uh, but yeah, everything starts to matter. So you start to become like an athlete. Okay, fishing is not just fun anymore. Fishing is a sport. How's the Mega Live going? Uh, it's going. I haven't figured out how to use it properly yet. Put it that way. You see a lot of fish. There's so many fish to be seen. So many disappointments have been experienced. Wednesday night, went out to the lake, saw, I must have seen at least 20 schools of hybrids. None of them were willing to bite. None of them. Okay. So that's the life of being a live fisherman. Yeah. Yeah, the weighted bobber and the actual top water, it is a little different. The weighted top water goes much farther, but once it gets out there, it doesn't it doesn't stay afloat. Like it's weighted so heavy that when it hits, it actually sinks. It starts to sink. So you have to work it. When you work the bait stays on the surface, but as soon as you stop, it sinks. But you work it, it comes back. Fishing finesse. Yeah, fishing time. Let's go. Sorry, I missed your drink bait answer. Okay, let me give it quick and dirty. I like all three brands, but based on their sizes. If it's I think it's either 70, 80, or 90 jerk baits, I like the Lucky Craft better, the DD, the little Lucky Craft jerk bait. I think that thing is solid. Nothing else touches it. 110 size, Mega Bass all day, every day. 120 size, Realis. I like the Realis. It throws better. At that size, I feel like it casts better than all the other brands. The Realis, the dual Realis. It's got good hooks on it already, too. That's the other thing. Size 4s, I think. Striper fishing is all about setup, not for cheap folks. Distance is everything for me. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, growing up, right? We never took striper fishing that seriously, and we always thought we'll just take what we could get, right? That's what most people are willing to do. Okay, and that's the key thing is how much are you willing to spend because to go to cast 30 yards to 50 yards, if you go another $50, I mean, it's as simple as changing your big plastic line to a braid. You got it. That's like a $50 thing, right? You got it. But to go from 50 yards to 70 yards, you might need a better reel, for example, or a better rod. Or you get both. Well, that's $100 upgrade, right? You're pretty good. They're right around that 150 to 200 range. I think majority of the people are satisfied with that. A good form, good technique, good line, good lure will get you to 100 yards. It will get to you to 100 yards. But like I said, there is the performance crowd too, where they're willing to stretch it out to $1,000, $2,000 for that perfect 150-yard cast, and that's where it's at. Okay, so some people they won't go that high. uh, colors on jerkbaits. Okay, colors on jerkbaits. Keep it real simple. This is a really good one. This is I don't even know if this is a Mega Bass color pattern or not. I think this is something someone just came up with. I see it when you're picking colors, right? Let me tell you this because depending on where you go, your color selection should change. Okay, if you're in gin clear water, this is probably too bright. When you're picking colors, and this goes across the entire spectrum of fishing lures, when you're picking colors, you need to pick a color that is just slightly more aggressive than the environment that you're trying to fish in. This is like professional tips, right? I should be charging for this tip. I can charge you $500 for this tip because this is how we fish all the time. If you're fishing an area, you just need to throw something that is natural, like very natural to that area, but it needs to be a little revealing. Okay, so the fish needs to see it and say, "Oh, that's a minnow." But why the heck is this stupid minnow like ventured off from his pack like that? And you got to think of it like that. If the fish sees a pink minnow, he's gonna be like, why is that minnow pink? Like he's not gonna want like to go and eat it or chase it. You know what I mean? So if you throw like say for example this one, right? This one is a great color for stained water, water that you can still see like 3-4 feet. It's stained. The reason why it's good is because it's got a chartreuse like lateral line. Chartreuse glows real hot and heavy in stained water. In gin clear water, this is a bad color choice. Very bad color choice. Because in gin clear, you kind of the fish can see it, and it's like, oh, bro, that's fake. Oh, that's fake. That's got fake written all over it, right? It won't chase it. But if it's clear, like if you've got a really clear lake, right? You'll see a lot of like see-through minnows, and this is a reality too. You catch a lot of those shoreline minnows, you can almost see through them. Like you can see the backbones, you can see the stomachs, you can see like literally through it. The little shoreline minnows. I'm talking the minnows like that, right? You can see through them. And then if you catch the fish, right? The fins you can see through. There's a lot of transparency. So when you pick a bait, the baits need to be see through as well. Kind of follow what I'm saying? So when the fish looks at it, it's like that's a weird looking bait, but he about to get smashed. You know, like you got to get into that world. And in the world of muddy river, there's really two colors. You know, one straight black, because if you take black and you put it in front of brown, you can still see black. Like black shines out very well. Or you pick chartreuse. You know, chartreuse. That's chartreuse right there. Like that fluorescent green. Yeah, this is chartreuse. See that? It's so bright that you guys probably that's chartreuse. That shines very bright in any situation. So in the darkest of the dark, you want the brightest color or the darkest color. That's what it is. I mean, you have to do that. That's why there's so many different colors out there. Don't get me wrong. Some of the colors are out to trick you, right? But as you get more professional in your fishing world, you will see what I'm talking about. So, like, as the day goes, your colors will change if you keep that idea with you. So at night, this actually might be a decent color at night. During the day, oh hell no, don't throw it. It ain't gonna produce. You know what I mean? So at night, throw a bone color, like straight white. Don't even get fancy with like fine lines. It's just blob white. At night, it's cool. It works. During the day, you want a blob. You want stealth. You know. Striper fishing costs $10 a yard. You know, I never thought of it like that, but you're probably right. It probably does. It's probably more like $30 a yard. Do you guys own any G rods? I'm assuming you're talking G Loomis. Yes, I have two. I have two Loomis rods, two IMX rods. And are they good? You know, the IMX rods are now discontinued. The ones that I have, right? They were, I think they were the $300 rods, like 200, 320 ish rods at the time. Are they worth the 320? No, not in my opinion. You know, I don't think so because I've bought a lot of brands and I feel like it's not worth 320. I feel like definitely 250, definitely 280, right on that ballpark. But 300 plus, that's a little stretching it. I think that's where the brand actually convinces you to spend the extra $20. But have I had any problems with them? Nope. Lumines's are pretty legit in terms of like build quality and all. That's pretty legit. I have I have the swim bait rod over there. Well, actually, it's not a swim bait. I think it's a flipping stick, but it's a big stick. It's like 8.5 foot. And then I also have the jerk bait rod. The jerk bait rod I use all year. I throw it on there. I use it for everything. Throw it on jerk baits. I throw my Ned rigs on it. I throw my shaky heads on it. I throw gay blade on it. I throw lipless traps on it. I throw top water. Really good top water rod. Lots of top waters on it. Uh, Yeah, so all the lighter stuff, and I have it paired with a Steez. Yes, it's high end rod, high end reel, the whole works. I use it all the time, and you guys probably see it a lot too in the videos. All right, coming up on 2 hours. I didn't think this video was gonna go. I really didn't think it was gonna go 40 minutes, but we're at 2 hours. So let me know. I'm probably gonna sign off here in about 10 minutes. I got a lot of tackle prep I gotta do for the tournament. So any final questions, let me know. And other than that, might have to sign off. So a lot of good questions today, guys. Lots of good questions. The world of stripers. You guys gotta throw this thing. If you guys don't know what this thing is, go get one. Throw it. This thing is a striper magnet. No one's talking about it yet. Stripers don't even know what it is yet. It's a giant chatterbait. It's a giant chatterbait. Yeah, I gotta set a date. I'll let you guys all know. I'll post it everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So no, the question is, can you throw a chatterbait far enough? Question answer is no, you can't. Chatterbait is for, say, the guys that are that don't need to throw very far. You're literally like in a boat or a kayak, or you've waded out there, right? And it's not even that deep. Chatterbait's good. Chatterbait is real good. Like I've had cases where my brother's thrown A rigs in front of the kayak and striper won't bite it. I follow through from the back of the boat with a chatterbait, and I was able to catch stripers behind him. It's just because, you know, the chatterbait is known in the bass fishing world, and they use it quite a bit. I use it a lot in the bass fishing world, but the striper guys, they don't talk about it at all. Like nobody knows about it in the striper world, or if they do, it's all hush hush, you know. So for me, I just use it. I use my expensive jackhammers, which I shouldn't be doing for stripers. But boy, they eat it good, man. Under the dams, they eat it real good, real good, real good. I think we have some videos showing it too. Yep, there's a big blade, man. For stripers, throw the big blade. The only thing about this big blade I don't really like is this clip. This clip is kind of weak, in my opinion. Stripers might mangle it. The front clip, change it out to a mustad fast clip. I don't know what size, but it says it's a size 3 right here, but it might be the wrong size. It's just a random pack I had in front of me. Let's see if it works. But this fast tech mustad, show you guys. Mustad fast tech. This fast tech was built. I feel like it was built for the chatterbait, but the chatterbait company won't put it on there. And every time you buy a chatterbait, you have to swap it out. But you can probably use it for a little bit. It's just over time. I think this hardware is not gonna hold up. But yeah, regardless, chatterbaits, man. I love throwing chatterbaits for stripers. All right, guys, I'm about to call it a night. Since there's no more questions, I appreciate it for that one guy that said this is his class and lied to his wife, basically. Uh, hope he's still, hopefully he's still alive. But yeah, I'll try to, like I said, the internet's back, and I've been missing for 2 weeks. And once again, thanks to all the guys that have bought this from us. I know it's a little bit overpriced, but every dollar helps for the channel, pays for the gas, so we can go give you guys more content, pay for the boat, stuff like that, keep the lights on basically, and do these live videos. So if you like to support the channel, just pick up one of those, and it greatly helps us. It's a bit pricey. They start at, I think it was $40 shipped for this one, $40. Like I said, it's a little pricey, so the guys that will buy this are, say, the tournament guys that need an edge. Basically, if you need an edge, this is what it is. This is where the edge is at. Or if you just want to help the channel out, or if you just want to do something different, So this is definitely something different for the white bass community, for the striper community. Definitely something different. And we'll be giving one of these away. So stay tuned for that. We'll announce that soon. We've just dropped a batch tonight. I haven't even answered any of the messages. I don't know if there's any messages coming through or not, but we have a small batch. This batch is not as big as it used to be, just because materials are pretty hard to source, and we've actually run out of materials. So we're sourcing. I got some stuff coming from overseas. I hope the quality is pretty good, because if it is, we might drop the prices if the quality is good and it's cheaper and everything. If not, then we have to go back to our original guy, and the prices are, like I said, they're premium price because it's a premium product. This is like Mega Bass class. Okay, if Mega Bass introduced a umbrella rig, it will be this price. Like, not joking. All right, guys. Logging off. See you guys Tuesday or Thursday. Well, I'll be here Tuesday. I'm on vacation on Monday, but I should be back on Tuesday. And come back, hang out. Ask your wife to tell your wife to go to school every Tuesday and Thursday night, 7:30. And we'll see you guys again. And bring questions, guys. All right. See ya.